Hey internet, it's Phil. I think it's time to go over Organization XIII because they're going to become a major player, but there's really a lot going on with them. There's multiple plans, there's double crossings and triple crossings, and it's just a lot to keep track of. I think it's going to be a little bit easier to cover it all up front, so that way when we're going through the story we don't have to stop all the time to explain what's going on. So what is the organization? At its core, Organization XIII is a plan from Master Xehanort in case his other plans fail. He wants to collect 13 nobodies, then use Kingdom Hearts to fill them all with darkness and Xehanort's essence. These 13 darknesses could then clash with 7 Warriors of Light, recreating the Keyblade. So how are they going to make their Kingdom Hearts? The Kingdom Hearts that Ansem Seeker of Darkness had was made of the Hearts of Worlds. This one is going to be made of the hearts of people, and the only way to gather those hearts is for a Keyblade bearer to defeat Heartless. So most of the organization's work involves scouting out worlds and figuring out which ones have the most potential for darkness and which one they can sick the Heartless on. Then they can send a Keyblade bearer to that world, defeat really powerful Heartless, and gather really strong hearts. It's actually like a pretty messed up plan. They're sicking the Heartless on these worlds, knowing that they're gonna go and slaughter people so they can gather the hearts and use them to restore their own hearts. It's pretty dark. Why use nobodies? Because nobodies have no hearts and are thus easier to exert control over. They're also easier to manipulate. It's kind of hard to convince 13 people to be filled with your essence. When a nobody is first created, they don't really know what's going on. So the leader, Xemnas, will come to them and be like, hey, you're a nobody. You don't exist. You're not supposed to exist. There are beings of light in the realm of light, and there are heartless in the realm of darkness, but you're nothing. You don't count. You have no heart, and the only personality you think you have is really just your memories of when you were human. And you're always going to feel incomplete, unless we use Kingdom Hearts to give you back your heart. And the only way to do that is to follow me. And faced with that choice, nobodies will be like, alright, sure, why not? So all but 2 members of the organization believe that their true goal is to restore all their hearts and make them human again. Every member is given a new name, a number, and control over one of the lesser types of nobodies. The numbers aren't a ranking, they're not how powerful you are or how high up you are in the organization, they're simply the order in which people joined. So we're going to go down the list and explain the motivations and allegiances of each member, although we are going to save Xemnas, who is number 1, for the end. Number 2 is Xigbar. Xigbar is the nobody of Break, who you'll remember as Master Xehanort's apprentice, his second in command. Because Xemnas doesn't have his memories of being Xehanort, Xigbar is the one who's really moving things along towards the true goal. However, it's important to know that Xigbar is a schemer. The entire reason he joined Xehanort is because Xehanort was offering him power. And you can bet your bottom dollar that at the end of the day, Xigbar is going to look out for himself and try to be the last one standing. For now though, he's trying to move everything along to make sure that he gets the 13 darknesses they need. However, he's running into a bit of a problem, and that's that he doesn't think he can really trust Xemnas, which is something we'll cover in a bit. Numbers 3 through 6 are Xaldin, Vexen, Lexaeus, and Zexion. They're the rest of the apprentices of Ansem the Wise that were working with Xehanort when all this went down. They feel like this whole thing was kind of an accident, so they're the most invested in the fake plan of trying to get their hearts back. Though some of them, like Xaldin, don't actually mind being nobodies. Vexen is the scientist of the group. He's working on something called the Replica Program. This is essentially cloning. It allows them to make an extra copy of anyone that's going to be really important to the organization. Specifically, they want to make a copy of Roxas. Having a Keyblade is essential to their operation, so they want to make sure that they have extras in case Roxas or Sora don't work out. Zexion is another member that's kind of interesting. We really don't know that much about him, but he always seems to kind of know what's going on. It's hard to know what he's thinking because he hasn't had a lot of his own story and he doesn't talk that much to begin with, but he's definitely one you want to look out for in the future. Numbers 7 and 8 are Sai and Axel, who we've previously known as Isa and Lee. So right before Ansem turned all the apprentices into Heartless, Isa and Lee broke into the castle. We don't know exactly why they were doing it. It's probably a good bet that they found out about all the experiments and were trying to stop them. But in any case, they got turned into Heartless too, and they also became nobodies. What makes them unique is that they want to overthrow the organization. Again, we're kind of light on specifics of what they were going to do, but we do know that they're working counter to everybody else. So Sai tries to rise through the ranks and become Xemnas' right-hand man, which he does. He's the one who hands out missions, he's the one who oversees all the day-to-day stuff. Sai can push their agenda from the top. Meanwhile, Axel takes care of any illicit or shadowy operations, including but not limited to eliminating any members that get in their way. There's a bit of a problem though. At some point, Sai has become possessed by Xehanort. When this happened and what exactly it means, we don't really know. But like Xigbar, right now he has most of his individuality intact. So he's still trying to overthrow the organization, but as time goes on, he's definitely changing. He's becoming more cold and ruthless. Axel, on the other hand, because he's become friends with Roxas, is actually becoming warmer and starting to regrow his heart. This is creating a rift between them. Sai feels like Axel cares more about Roxas than him, and Axel thinks that Sai is becoming cold and losing sight of what they're really after. Each friend feels like the other is changing and they don't like what they see. And this distance is going to affect them a lot as the story goes on. Numbers 9 through 12 are Demyx, Luxord, Marluxia, and Larxene. These are the new members that have been recruited from all over the worlds. The last two, Marluxia and Larxene, young upstarts that they are, have decided that they too want to overthrow the organization. Of course, they don't have any sort of noble cause, they really just want power. But as the newest members of the organization, they clearly aren't that good at subterfuge because Xemnas is onto them immediately. So he and Sai make a plan to send Larxene and Marluxia off to Castle Oblivion, which is going to become their second base. Once there, Axel is going to take them out so they're not going to become a problem. At the same time, Sai sees an opportunity to send some of the other members that he thinks might get in their way. Zexion falls on this list especially because Sai thinks that he's sort of on to him and Axel. Next up, we have numbers 13 and 14. Roxas and Xion. Roxas, of course, is Sora's nobody. He's the one that's going to go into the worlds and gather hearts. And Xion is his backup. Though Xion is designed from Sora's memory, she's not designed to have any sort of personality or individuality. She's meant to be a completely controllable puppet. Now let's talk about number 1. Xemnas. Xemnas is one of the most interesting characters in all of Kingdom Hearts. He may not seem that way at first, but there's actually a surprising amount of layers to his character. So Xemnas, of course, split off from Ansem when he became a Heartless. Ansem's heart at the time was mostly Xehanort. His body, though, was Terra's, and the body is the main component of a nobody. So while he's definitely part Xehanort, there's actually a surprising amount of Terra in there. And this is what makes Xemnas kind of a wild card. As a nobody, he has some of Terra's memories that Ansem and Xehanort before him didn't have. He knows that the armor that he was found with is Aqua's. He keeps it in a room and talks to it. And he remembers Ventus too. When he finds Roxas, he understands that he has a connection to Ventus. When he's comatose in the first days that he's at the organization, Xemnas stands over him and he remembers watching Ventus the same way. More than that, he's figured out that Ventus's body is in Castle Oblivion. So the reason that he wants their second base to be Castle Oblivion is entirely because he wants to look for Ventus. So he's going to send Axel there over and over to look through every inch of it trying to find the room where Aqua has stashed Ventus. However, Axel doesn't know what's in the room he's trying to find. This is why Xigbar mistrusts him. He knows that Xemnas is going down into a room and talking to someone, but he doesn't know who. He knows that he's looking for something in Castle Oblivion, but he doesn't know what. But Xigbar is smart. He's starting to realize that Xemnas is exhibiting some really Terra-like tendencies. And this could potentially ruin everything, so he wants to figure out what's going on, but he also has to be really careful so Xemnas isn't onto him. What's interesting about Xemnas is that you never really know who is in control. Is he Terra? Is he Xehanort? Is he a new entity entirely? I think the answer is kind of in the middle. He definitely has Terra's memories and some of his ambitions, but he also is definitely a Xehanort, and that's what gives Xemnas so many facets. It's really difficult to know what he's truly thinking. So now we have the original plan, which is to create 13 darknesses. We have the fake plan, which is to restore all the nobody's hearts. We have Sai and Axel plotting a rebellion. We have Marluxia and Larxene plotting a rebellion. There is a lot going on in this group. This is, in my opinion, what makes Organization XIII so much fun. We're told that nobodies are emotionless, that they have no heart and thus can't grow them, but there's so much individuality coming out, there's all these dueling plans and everyone's trying to one-up everyone else. And it makes for a really interesting dynamic in what could be just a typical boring villain group. So that's Organization XIII. Hopefully you understand their motivations and their members a little bit better. Of course, we're going to see a lot more as the actual story unfolds, so stay tuned. If you like this video and you want to give it a thumbs up, that would be really cool. If you have any questions or comments, I'm sure I missed something, so leave them down below. Hit the subscribe button if you want to see more videos, and I will see you soon.